We're going to go back in here to, I don't know, the Great Horned Owl, level restart number 2. So this would be the one where we are going. And yeah, we're just a few seconds away from being able to do this. So let's go ahead and get that refreshed because it's now up. And we're going to see where we can go, right? All right. So you start number 2. Okay, so it's 9 times the amount of feathers this time instead of 3 times the amount of feathers. So we can see it is a lot faster, right? Um, so we'll be able to burn through this first one pretty quick and easy. All right, 5 million to get that. Yeah, we had it down to like 1.2 million, I think. So is what it is. Anyway, flying right through the first couple levels, right? I mean, boom, 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 just completely flying right through them. And we had like 956 feathers per second on the last run. So we're gonna fly right through this. We're just gonna fly right through it. It's gonna be no problem at all. We're just boom, boom, boom. Third run through. Level restart. Second level restart says a third run through. So far, it's way better. Way better. Getting this filled up, it's not going to take that long, right? I don't know. Is it worth doing the 5% or the? I mean, because really, either way, does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter which way's better at this point? It doesn't. It's we're already like to 1/3 of where we were. So going through this one so far is just wonderful. Way better than the second run. The second run was just really kind of bleh. This one will get there too. All right, it'll get there where it's like, ugh, okay. But I mean, we're flying through it so far. Okay, so we're gonna unlock the reduction, right? Um, is it worth reducing the feather upgrade cost at this point? No, it is not, because we're getting 9 times the amount of feathers that we were before. So upgrading all these is going to be way more beneficial than cheapening the feather costs. Way more beneficial. See, as we go through and as we get higher levels through higher runs, uh, that decreasing the feather cost isn't going to be as much. It's still going to be 5%, right? Or I'm sorry, 10%. So it's still going to reduce the cost, and which is going to be beneficial. But it's going to be more beneficial for stuff like this as opposed to getting those feather gains. Because right now, getting these feather gains is way more important than reducing the cost. Way more important on this run. Because right here it's like 9 more per second, plus whatever I got out. So it's like 627 to 645. So that's 18, right? 18 more feathers per second. This one, 45 to 61. So that's 16 more feathers per second. Reducing the cost at this point is not going to be beneficial. It's not going to be as beneficial. Now we'll go ahead and do it, right? 55, 65. Okay, it took 500 off. Okay, maybe we're at the point now where it might be like, okay, worth doing, but like right at first, not worth doing. And even right now, I'm not entirely sure that it's worth doing, other than the fact that okay, it gives us something to hit. But I mean, our growth stopped and went stagnant while we were doing that. Whereas we could be further ahead on these two, which further ahead on the feathers per second. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah. I mean, we're already just what 200 per second behind where we were. Of course, this one, 750,000. It's still going to take a while, but every time we upgrade something, it's just that much less time that it's going to take to get there. So, of course, upgrading the cheaper feathers isn't really going to help us get this one filled. So we'll take it up to 6,000, and then we'll start cheapening them a little bit just to get that done, right? Just to get some movement on that. Uh, so we're like what 50 feathers per second behind where we were on the last run. At the end of the last run, okay. That's great. That's great. Anyway, 6,000. So we'll go ahead and bump these guys up a little bit. Now this is actually the point where it might actually start being beneficial to really put some time and effort into the feather cheapeners, just because this is where it's going to actually start to slow down for us. Although we're higher than we were. Okay. Hip hip hooray. We're higher than we were. So now 1,000 a second, which is about 17 minutes per million, right? 17 and a half minutes ish per million. Just quick math in the head, not going on calculator. I could be a little bit off, but we're just say 17 minutes for a million feathers at this point. Less than 17 minutes to get that done. So to get this bar filled. So far, so good. And of course, we're not stopping. We're going to continue to go up on the feathers per second, and we'll take these to about 100,000 feathers each, and then we'll probably let it play out at that point to until we can go to level 3, right? Probably just let it play out, do the math on it, and figure out how long it's going to take to play it out. Because I know 100,000 was beyond the point of diminishing returns last time. Now it's probably not going to be on the point of diminishing returns this time, because the diminishing returns part this time is probably going to be way higher. So maybe a million to get past the diminishing returns on this run. Maybe 500,000. I don't know. I know it's going to be right around 100,000 or more, because it was like 60,000 last time. So it'll probably be 120, 130, 140. But it's okay. We'll take them all to 100,000 just to get that going, right? And of course, we're gonna have more, right? We had about 1,000 last time. This time, or I'm sorry, 950 per second last time. This time's gonna be what, 3 times higher than that? So probably about 3,000 per second by the time we get these to 100,000. If not, a little bit more. I don't. It should only be about 3,000 per second. So instead of 17 minutes for a million, it'd take about 5. So this would be like 10 minutes right here. Once we get to that 3,000 per second. All right, now, this is what, I mean, probably 14 and 14, so 28-ish minutes. Just taking a rough guess, not actually doing the math on that. Uh, so we are getting to the point where this is starting to really get diminished even more. It's still worth doing, I mean, it's worth doing more now than it was. But it's worth it more for this than for getting more feathers. Because right now, really getting more feathers is the biggest thing to do. I mean, we're talking 10 seconds for an upgrade. And what, 15 seconds? Or, well, it's still about 10 seconds for that. So, but is that going to reduce the seconds by a lot for these other ones? Not really. It's going to reduce it a little bit, but not a whole lot. Not at this point. Still worth getting, though. Still worth spending the points in. Mainly for reducing everything else. But still, let's look at it here. It's going to drop me less than 1600. So it's going to drop me less than a second. Is it worth doing? It's going to drop less than a second, right? Yeah, way less than a second. The feather gains are way more important now. Way more important. And this is just going to get way worse of a thing to put points into as time goes. As the more levels you go through, or the more runs you go through, this is just going to get way, way less important. Way less important. It's going to be for getting your bonuses down, your rebirths down, for getting that stuff done. That's what it's going to be for. Because right now, it is way more beneficial to do those feathers. Way more beneficial. I think I had this at level 25 last time, actually. This one was 75. I don't remember. I didn't remember. Anyway, we're almost to where we can see how much it's going to cost us to rebirth. And we're probably around 15 seconds for each feather upgrade. So, getting a little bit longer. In between hitting those, okay, 65.4 million. Wow. Wow. Okay, so we spent 19,000. We took off what? 2.1 million off that. Okay, that's going to 21,000 to get save 2.4 million. Hello. Or I'm sorry, 2.1 million. Was it 2.1 million? I don't remember. But it's not going to help a whole lot on the feather generation and feather multipliers. It's going to help a little bit here and a lot here. Okay. That's where those are going to come in. But right now, let's try to at least get to 2,000 per second before we even worry about this again. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, part of me thinks we should go ahead because it is 11,000 difference. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's not going to do a whole lot for me. It's not. It really isn't. But I mean, 61.3 to 59.4. That's still 1.9 million drop right here. I mean, that's good, right? So we're right around 8.5 minutes per million. So 8.5 times 59. Right? 8.5 minutes, 59 times. It's like 8 hours to get there. 8 hours to get there. That is horrible. Horrible. Drop that down a little bit more, though, right? Just drop it. Just keep dropping it. Raise those feathers up. Drop the requirements down. And we'll get that down to less than that. I mean, we could just stop right here and go, okay, we'll come back in 8 hours and see where that takes us. But really, what's the point in that? It's not going to really benefit us to wait that entire 8 hours. We could get that dropped fairly decently. I mean, right there, another little bit of a drop. Uh, not, again, not helping us get the more per second, but it is going to take minutes off. I mean, it took over 8 minutes off the whole thing. It was probably closer to 16 minutes off, but you know what I'm saying. Uh, if you're really worried about the time, I mean, boom, that's 12 minutes gone. 12 minutes, boom, gone. 12 minutes closer. Yay. For just what? 20 seconds? It's taking us about 20 seconds to get enough points to do these upgrades now. So moving forward is doable. Definitely doable. Uh, see, right now 20 seconds is 42,000. 42,000. Okay. So less than 20 seconds for this. There we go. Just over 20 seconds for that one. Maybe 20 seconds. And oh, there we go. Boom. Okay. So 44-ish, 44,000-ish for 20 seconds. So it's still quite beneficial to do this. Well, we could do that, but we're going to take it to 44,000. Just because we can. Not because we have to or because we. I mean, it's going to drop time off, right? Boom, boom. Another at least 12 minutes gone. Well, probably a little less because we're getting more per second, so probably less than 12 minutes now. This one felt like doing the math. So 12 minutes gone there. Let's just rough guesstimate here. And of course, I don't know how much has gone from increasing it. But so far, it's not horrible. It's really manageable. See, I do want to get this below 1 million. I mean, that was like 17.5 seconds or 17.5 minutes on the last run for 1 million. Of course, this run, that time is more than cut in half, so couldn't do that one. We're just taking time off of here, so. just dropping that time, which is good. I mean, it's really, really good, really beneficial for getting there faster. We're almost at 100,000-ish on these. I don't know which one's better at the moment, like this or that. Because I mean, ultimately it's going to be the same, right? Because anyway, once we get to 100,000 each, we'll start doing this one and watching that drop, just to see if we reach the part of diminishing returns or not. And then once we reach the part of diminishing returns, we'll just go ahead and stop the stream, because there'll be no point in continuing at that point. I mean, it's just going to be like, let it sit and rack up feathers. Because once we get past the point of diminishing returns to where it costs us more to do an upgrade than the benefit is, then there's no point in continuing to do upgrades. So, I mean, you could do them. It's just, it's going to cost you more. Of course, we want to get this in there somewhere. We don't have to. We don't have to get that. But it'd be nice. It would be nice to get that. Okay, so we're at 2,400 per second, which is just, that's way better than the, what, 950 per second we were last time. So, I mean, so far, boom, it's just great. Because I think we're still better off to get the multipliers as opposed to reducing the cost. I mean, yeah, okay, 1,500 reduction there. It's less than a second, right? I mean, it took time out here, but it's not really benefiting us. I keep saying it and I keep hitting it. 52 to 84, so that was what, 32? So 32 extra feathers per second. That's I think that's great, you know. I mean, right now it's 4,800 for 20 seconds. 48,000, I'm sorry, 48,000 for 20 seconds. It's not horrible. So we're getting closer to 40 seconds for the upgrades, which seems atrocious, right? Okay. So 5,040, or I'm sorry, 50,400 for 20 seconds. So it's about 40 seconds to get 100,000 at the moment. So as long as we keep increasing the feathers at this point, then the feather gain rather, then we're keeping under 40 seconds for the 100,000. We can worry about that here in a little bit, because it's not really going to make these other ones faster. It's really not. I mean, once we get them to 100,000, okay, and then we upgrade that a few times, it might drop it below 100,000, and then we can do another upgrade. But as far as for right now, maybe that wasn't 25, maybe it was 35. I don't remember. Anyway, it's still less than 40 seconds per upgrade up here, so less than a minute for sure. And our goal was 3,000. I don't know, we might make it. I mean 100,000 on these for 3,000 down here. So that was where we was thinking we might be, and so far it looks like that might hold true. So now it's 52, 53, 53,000 for 20 seconds. So it's 106,000 for 40 seconds. So definitely still under 40 seconds for the upgrades, which is phenomenal. If you ask me, I mean, I don't think anyone is, but just if you are, that's definitely worth going to 100,000 at that point. Or still, you know, it's actually worth going to 103,000. So, I mean, I'd say anything under a minute would be worth the one at this point. Once it gets above a minute, then maybe it's not worth waiting around for. But we haven't even looked to see if we're at diminishing returns yet or not. Just because it's still not taking a whole lot of time to get there. So it's 54,000. So it's 108,000. Which we could take these to 108. It's fine. It's still only 40 seconds. 108,000 for 40 seconds. So that would be like 150,000 for a whole minute. So definitely worth maybe. We'll try to find that diminishing return rate here in a little bit, though. Because once we hit the diminishing return rate, we're done. We're gonna just let it roll out, and then we'll see how long it should take to get to the whatever this is going to end up being. We could take these to 108. Could. Okay, we don't have to though, right? It's like 2,800, so 2,800 is 56, so that's 112. 112,000 for 40 seconds. So we'll do that. We'll take it to 112 each, and then we'll just start cranking this one down. Just because I don't know. I don't know because I keep changing my mind on this, right? I mean, I said 100,000. I said 100,000. Let's do 100,000. Hell with it. This is 56,000, 50.3 million. So 1.3 million for 50,000. Yeah, worth doing. Worth doing. 64,000. I don't know. What was that? What, 1.1 million? Okay. Pretty good drop. Pretty good drop. So still worth doing. All right. 72,000. I mean, we're still taking over a million off. So 47.9, 46.7. So 1.2 million drop. Nice. Way more than what we spent still, right? Because we spent less than 0.1 million, so 1.2 million drop for less than 0.1 million is just beneficial. So definitely not a diminishing return yet. This one's below 100,000, so let's go ahead and pump it back up to 100,000 just to get that extra little bit, right? Just to, push us a little bit faster. It's not going to push us a lot faster, but it's a little bit, right? All right. Now it's just a matter of waiting because that 40 seconds just seems like it takes forever. Okay, we can drop that again. So 82,000, 46.7, 45.6. So a little bit more of a drop. That's 2830. Divide that by 60. So it's like 26 minutes. Is that serious? 26 minutes? 26 minutes to get there. So a half hour. 45.6 down to 44.6. So another million off. That's considerable, right? Bump that up just a little bit more. I mean, what was it? Almost 20, actually almost 27 minutes. It was 26.85. Oopsie. So let's look to see where that took us, right? $16. That's 25.9 minutes. So took some time off. There's 44.6, 43.6. So I took another million off there and then dropped this below 100,000. So obviously we're going to spend the money on, or the feathers on that. So it looks like we're taking about a minute off by upgrading this once and then upgrading this once. Now it's taking us 40 minutes. I'm sorry, 40 seconds-ish to get enough points for this and enough points, and then an additional 40 seconds for enough points for that. It's only taking about a minute off the total. So we are at the point of diminishing returns because that's 25.9 minutes. And then we'll just take that as 43 point, oops, 6. Divide that by 2903 and divide that by minutes here. Wait a minute. Hold on. I screwed up. I screwed up somehow. Okay, let's try that again, right? 43.6. Oops. Divide that by 2902. And divide that by 60. No. 2902. Not 0.2. So that's 25 minutes. Okay, so we took a minute off by upgrading that over here. So it's 25 minutes 4 seconds ish. I mean, not really 4 seconds, kind of closer to 3 or 2.5. But 43.6 to 42.7, so 0.9, which is 0.9, right? Divided by 2902, divided by 60. No, not times 60. Divided by 60. See, 24.5 minutes. So we took 30 seconds off by upgrading this, but it's taking us more than 40 seconds to get that. So we are beyond the point of diminishing returns. But that's the thing, because we're still saving more here by spending the points here, right? So, I mean, 1.1, it's 0.1 million. So 42.7, 41.8. Okay. 41.8 down to 40.9. So that's 0.8 million gone that we don't need to worry about. I mean, we are beyond the point of diminishing returns. We are definitely beyond the point of diminishing returns. Like, it's weird because everything we spend now is taking us further away from our goal. but we haven't got the goal of getting this under. But it lowers this, right? It lowers this by more than that. That's what makes no sense. Like it's taken us about 40 seconds. Wait a minute. I should say 3,000. That's 60,000. Yeah, it's taken us like a minute to get this, but we spend that minute worth, and it's only reducing like 30 seconds here, but it's reducing this by more than what this is. That doesn't make any sense, does it? That doesn't make any sense at all. All right. Well, we got to get these to 150,000 at least. So, I mean, we can't have them being that far behind. Uh, we cannot have them being that far behind. Plus, this is still taking off more here than we're spending. So while yeah, I mean we're like doubling up. I mean, like if we spend 200,000 here, this would have to drop by more than 0.4, right? It would have to drop by more than 400,000. Otherwise, we're just keeping it the same. So, we're increasing those. Yeah, we're beyond the point of diminishing returns. We're beyond it. We're gonna keep doing for a little bit though, just to even this out. It's going to take less than 25 minutes. Even if we do nothing else, as far as upgrading nothing else, it's going to take us 25 minutes to get the 40.9 million. Okay. And I mean, yeah, this is taking off like 0.8 million to upgrade this once, but it's costing us 0.2 million. So 0.2 million to get it, spend it, then we got to get it back. So that's really equivalent to 0.4 at that point, of which isn't taking many seconds off at all. So you got to think it through, right? Let's think it through here. Which still was taking 0.9 or 0.4 or 0.8 or point something. So it's taking time off. It's just not taking much time off when you figure the 1 point or 0.175 million times 2, because you spend it, so you have to go get it back. So I mean, it's essentially doubles. Math, right? Math. All right. So we are trying to increase our goals here. What sweets?
I need the pen.
Oh, I don't know where the pen is. Good luck. We're gonna go to the store here in a little bit, okay? All right. So now it's taking way too long. Way too long. It's taking more than a minute now to get these. Uh, I mean, still 40.9 to 40. That did take 0.9 million away. Like, I don't see how that doesn't decrease it by more. Anyway, let's get the calculator back out, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to take a little bit of time here to figure this out, right? So it's 40 million. Oh, 40 million. I wasn't doing right. I was not doing that right at all. Okay. That's where my problem was. I wasn't doing it right. 40 million. Divided by 3163. And divide that by 60. Okay, so it's 210 minutes. Okay. I was definitely not mathing right. I was taking a tenth of this off. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty big blunder. So 210 minutes. Sorry, my bad. To get this up, uh, we could definitely drop that down a bit, right? Um, do we want to do this or do this? All right, 40 million to 39.2. So it's 0.8 million off. All right, so from 210 minutes, now that I've figured out where I was messing up, that's 39. Divide that by 31.99. Divide that by 60. That's 204 minutes. Okay. Nothing. I wasn't talking to you. Did you find a pen? That's. Oh, okay.
It was a crayon.
A crayon. Okay, so that took like what, 18 minutes off? I don't remember. I already forgot. Okay. Now that we're doing the numbers correctly, now it makes more sense. Yeah. I was only doing 10% of the total. And I'm like, wow, 26 minutes. That's not bad at all. I'll go to the store. Just didn't seem right. And it wasn't right. So it's like 200 and some odd minutes now. So we are definitely decreasing it. We're not really past the point of diminishing returns. I was just doing the wrong math, thinking we were beyond diminishing returns. So I do apologize for that. 200 some odd minutes left. It's still like 3 hours, right? Ugh, 3 hours. Gross. So it looks like 227 is going to be a good number to get to. Should we get that one past diminishing returns? And then that'll tell us basically where diminishing returns is for the other two. I think that's the way to go. Is just find diminishing returns for this, and then we could bring these other two up to that. That way, okay. Yeah. So 0.27, 0.2, I'm sorry, 0.22 million. 39.2 to 38.5. So that's 0.7. I mean, it's 0.5 if you double it. Although I don't think that's quite, I don't think we have to do the 0.5 because we did still reduce that by way more than we spent. So let's just do it by that, by how much we spend. And then we can worry about. Because really, I mean, when you look at it, that is, as long as we're getting more back out of it. I'm kind of torn on that because it is still, we spend it, therefore we have to get it back. Therefore, it is essentially costing us double. Okay, 38.5. Divide that by 3276. And then, of course, divide that by 60 seconds is 195 minutes. So still over 3 hours. Okay. Drop that. So 195 minutes, right? Oh, I didn't look at the numbers on that. Dang on it. Anyway, 195 minutes, right? Let's see. Okay. 37 million. Divide that by the 3276. And divide that by 60. 191 minutes. What did I say it was before? I don't even remember. 191 minutes now. We gotta double these as far as what they cost. Actually, we're gonna go ahead and spend these up to at least 200,000 because we do need to close that gap. And look, we're over halfway to the 10 million. We have not been past 10 million on this yet, so we're gonna get to see what that is, what the next one is. So that's exciting, right? That's very exciting. And we just took minutes off. I'm sure we just took minutes off. So we're gonna keep taking minutes off. Of course, it's taking us minutes to get those minutes off now too. So uh, still 108, 191 minutes is just atrocious. Like we don't want just to take us 191 minutes to level this up. No, we want it to take less than that. Yeah, 191 minutes. Ugh, gross, gross, gross. It's less than that now. All right, getting close here, getting close, getting close, getting close. Boom. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Should we see what it's at now? It was 191. Okay, let's see what it is now. We got time, right? Divide that by the 3394 and divide that by 60. So it's 185 minutes now. So we took 6 minutes off by upgrading those a few times. You know, uh, is it worth it at this point? I don't know because it took time to get the points, and then we spend, and then we have to get those feathers back. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, yeah. But at this point, yeah, I mean, if it took us 3 minutes to save that 6, we're still 3 minutes ahead. So why not do it, right? Of course, that just means that we're not going to get it like beyond anything, where it's like lower and lower and lower and lower. So we are experiencing diminishing returns, like severely experiencing diminishing returns. Therefore, we're not really going to benefit a whole lot from continuing to do this. I mean, because right now it's what, let's just say 35. That's 70,000 every 20 seconds. So that's 210,000 every minute. So more than a minute to buy this. Just under a minute to buy that. Of course, that's rounding this up by 28 or 27. So, yeah. Of course, we'll see here in a second why I rounded up by 27. Oh, that's why. So I only did 3,500. So, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, point 0.3. Is this going to drop us by more than 0.3? We really want to see what that is, though. We really, really, really want to see what that is. So do we just wait? It's still going to take way too long. It's still going to take more than 3 hours. Divided by 3510. Divided by 60. 179 minutes. Okay, so just under 3 hours. Just under 3 hours at this point to get that up. Um, we'll add, I don't know, a couple minutes for this one, right? I mean, because really, once we buy this, then it'll be 3 hours past there. Uh, um, man, oh, that itches. Oh, there we go. I mean, I don't think it's worth buying the cheapeners anymore because I mean, really, it's 0.3 million for it to drop by maybe 0.8. Okay. But that 0.3 million, we have to then get that 0.3 million back. So that essentially makes it 0.6 million. That's actually costing us just to get back to where we were. Which means now we're only saving 0.2 million, which, okay, is a savings. But is it enough of a savings to really, because it's really only going to be 0.1 million, because I mean by the time you take the 0.2 million and figure, well, half that for the difference, uh, is it really worth it? Probably not. Of course, is it worth buying this? Probably not. It's going to be 3 hours. It's going to be 3 hours to get through this run. 3 hours. That means it's going to be like 7 o'clock p.m. to get through this run. I mean, we could spend more, right? Make a little bit, but it's not going to get us there faster. It's going to take us further away. I mean, we'll get the numbers faster, but it's going to take us further away. I mean, instead of it taking 3 hours to get the numbers, it might take 2.5 hours eventually. But we'll spend 6 hours to get it down to 2.5 hours, and we could have just let it run for 3 hours. So, I mean, you know, you got to figure out where that cutoff point's going to be. And I think at this point, we're beyond that cutoff point. Although I really want to see what this is too. Like, I really do. That's all right. We'll have to wait till the next run to figure out what that is, because I want to figure out what this is, and we're kind of close to that. So we're about 100,000 away to figure out what this is going to be. That the bonuses of Orion. I really thought that we'd have a skill gain before we did damage, but hey, I mean, plus 10 base damage doesn't seem like a whole lot to me. But then the plus 2% total damage, I like that. Okay, it's not a really high number, but it's enough. Okay, what's this one going to be? There we go, plus 4% skill XP. So I'd say that was worth it. And we'll go ahead and cut it here. 3 hours to get to 37.7 million. So we will we'll catch back up with you guys whenever we get to there, because I'm not going to wait for this. We'll just show you what that's going to be on the next run. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hope this is at least somewhat beneficial or at least helpful.